it's me, Mamie. I just wanted to come on here and hopefully do another get ready with me type story time. I'm not a makeup artist. I do not do makeup. I just kind of mess in makeup for fun, kind of try out looks, try new palettes that I have, try palettes I've never had, just bought because they look pretty, and tell you guys a story while I mess in makeup and tell you about a hot mess story of my life. Now, not all parts of my life have been messy, but I've noticed that if I look back in some of the times in my life that I thought were like the worst or the messiest or the craziest or what have you, I did end up learning a lot. And much like, in my opinion, when it comes to makeup, it might be a mess. Your life might be a mess. If not, at least fun. Sometimes even beautiful. So, I kind of drew on my eyebrows off camera because this is the hardest. It's hard for me to do makeup on camera as it is. Period. Not saying I do this. I did another story time before Halloween, but it's difficult for me as it is talking and doing makeup. But I'm gonna try it again because it gives me something to kind of do while I'm getting used to being in front of the camera, for one, and for two, it gives me, like I said, an opportunity to try out some makeup that has just been sitting in my makeup box or what have you. Did my eyebrows, drew them on because I still use pencils. So now I'm about to etch them out in concealer and start the story. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to entitle this story. I'm just going to tell it because today is actual election day. I don't know when this video will go up. I'm hoping it'll go up on election day. But this is like a before election up to election day video during, I think it was the Obama and Mitt Romney running. So pretty much this was the first time, at least in my generation. Some people say that there was a black president before Obama. I don't know if it's true. I'm not a history buff. I barely got out of social studies. I don't even know if that has anything to do with history, but I think it was learning about North Carolina, and I barely got out of that. So, like, if I can't even learn what's going on here, I don't know if I can learn about what went on way back then. But I do like, history or documentaries and stuff like that. It's just, I haven't done enough research to confirm or deny what I've heard before. But with that being said, for my lifetime, this was a very exciting time. I think I was just 18 or 19, either 18 going on 19 or just turning 19. I think I might have just turned 19 in the spring, and I was heading into my fall semester of my freshman year of college during the Mitt Romney and Barack Obama term. So my generation, as a black woman, this was a huge thing. Like, this was like a huge thing. But even though it was, yes, because Obama's black, let me be honest, but I actually really did like Obama. Thank God, my father always raised us, me and my brother, at least from what I got. See, this is why I can't talk and do a story, because I'm supposed to be doing my eyebrows. So I'm gonna try to do like a look to kind of match this dress. This is one of my favorite like knock around dresses. So I'm gonna try to do like a little green or something. I don't know. I got a green, I'll show you guys, green palette here that I've barely even touched. I have like 2 swipes on it. So I'm gonna try to use a few colors out of there today and see what happens. This is a Superstay CoverGirl, I think. No, Maybelline. I lied. Sorry. Superstay Maybelline concealer in caramel, or 40. So let me just dip that out and hold it up here because I know I'm gonna need more than a little bit. So anywho, so my father, like I was saying earlier, kind of always told me and my brother, like, look, I'm not so concerned on the party. I'm more concerned like how he voted. My daddy kind of voted based off if he liked the candidate. That was it. I really didn't know too much growing up, to be honest, about Democrat, Republicans. I have to, I'm telling the truth. Like, I knew there were different parties because we learned about it in school, obviously. But as in what my family was, my dad was a huge component or I don't know if I used this concealer before because it looked a little ashy, y'all. So I was just, I was just like really happy at a very young age that not only did we have a possibility of having the first black president in my generation, but I might be the reason why he became president. Like I get to vote. Like I get to vote this moment of history into existence. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm from the South. North Carolina may have North in it, but it is very much a Southern Bible Belt state. So I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna vote for Obama. I definitely was because I liked him. I liked his whole campaign of hope, which really did at a young age make me feel hopeful. And I liked how he seemed to have a grassroots operation, which was very much not only fellows, like people who were like getting the word out about Obama, like on the ground, like he was kind of known for being in the community, really talking to people of his community and being like one with the people. Just my opinion. Whatever you feel or think, that's up to y'all. This is my channel. This is what I think and feel. So, but I just felt like, you know, of course, people can always feel like the presidents can do more, but coming off a term where a war was just starting, we seem to be in so much debt, for at least from what my daddy was telling me, like debt out the wazoo, in a war, possibly heading towards a recession. I can't, like, again, I'm 19, so I'm doing as much research as I know to research as a 19-year-old child, and it just seemed like, you know, not only was Obama black, but he seemed to be exactly what, if I was going to vote for a president, he seems to be exactly the type of president I would be proud to put my name next to his on the ballot, right? So, that being said, it's a very, very, I never feel like I'm going to finish these stories, because my stories are like very, I feel like, boring for one, and for two, if I didn't talk so much, we could possibly get through it. But anywho, so I just want to kind of set the scene for you guys. Very, very interesting race. Mitt Romney was not a bad candidate, honestly. Like, he seemed to also be a person of the people. As far as I can remember, he was also, I think, a military veteran. My father was a military veteran, so that was also very important to me. But I'm sorry, at that young age of 19, Obama seemed like a great guy. He was black, and I want to be a part of history. So with this being said, I'm in college. So being in college, I lived in a dorm. So living in a dorm, the crazy thing about living on a dorm is you live with a lot of other people. It ain't never just you. No matter how much you may want it to be just you, it is never just you, right? And in our dorm, I don't know about y'all. Tell me in the comments below, like, if you did live in a dorm, how was your dorm set up? Because there were some people who went to schools other places. See, this is the one I should have used to cut my eyes, but it's too late. I know there are some people in school, y'all, apparently they were freshmen. Like, the way Pembroke was set up, there was what is called student apartments, but it was kind of hard in the beginning. I don't know how it is now, but it's kind of hard to get a student apartment. I mean, it was possible, but it weren't no walking apart. Like, they wanted you to, of course, get your parents to sign stuff and da-da-da-da-da, but outside of that, the only other place that was kind of nice to stay was this place called Oak. And Oak was only for athletes. But in Oak, they had the ability to have like their own suite, and I think they only in their own bathroom, and I think they like shared like a common area where people could go in a little dorm to go watch TV and stuff. And each floor had their own like common area, study pods where they can go and study and stuff. Like, long story long, it was literally like a completely different campus. Even though Oak was right like a stone throws away from where my dorm, it was so much nicer in so many ways. But if you can't tell, I was not very athletic. I barely can catch a beat if somebody throws it at me. So definitely didn't qualify to live in athlete housing. I mean, I eventually started stepping and stuff, but that was mostly because of we needed people to step, not because I was great at it. Anyway, but this is I hadn't pledged yet. But anywho, tell me how y'all dorms were. Like, did y'all have like a dorm where you just had a suite mate, like another person you stayed in, and y'all had your own bathroom, or was it more like my situation where it was 20 girls, each floor we had 5 or 6 floors. The bottom floor was where people came to sign. Oh God, I remember people signing in. That was an interesting, an interesting thing that nobody ever really did. Here's the palette, and I'm thinking about using. It's called the Emerald Profusion Cosmetics. I got it from Walmart. Some of the stuff I got from Sephora, some of the stuff I got from Ulta, Walmart. So I have a combination of different things because I'm not a believer in just because it costs a lot of money, it works. Sometimes that is very true, but not all times. So I try to be honest about that. So it was like 6 floors, and on these 6 floors were 20 dorm rooms. So the bottom floor didn't count. So the bottom floor was just where people came in to like check in, get on the elevators, and like head up to their rooms, right? But the other color payoff on this is very, very, very Wally World, very cheap McCheap's pants. But I'm gonna try it anyway. You never know. And it also might be, y'all, to be honest, it might be because it's old. Because I really ain't really used this palette like that. I probably if I would have used it when I first got it, I possibly could have got some better payoff. But anywho, so the other 5 floors were dedicated to dorm rooms, right? So each floor, so the other 5 floors had 20 girls, or 20 rooms on each floor, but each room had 2 girls. So pretty much 40 girls on each floor. Now, I know that may not seem like a lot to a lot of people on here, but if you are a person who has never, you are a teenager that has never lived with anybody besides your parents and maybe a sibling, going into a dorm where you have to not only share a space but a bathroom with 40 women, it is the craziest experience. I believe, my opinion, that if you go to college, or if you want to be, if you want to go to college, this eye is real weak, y'all. Sometimes it just be watering. I promise you ain't nothing wrong. It's a little weak. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like. Anyway, back to the dorm room. So it was 40 girls on one floor, right? And now, people who had siblings, I'm sure it possibly didn't bother them as much, because if you come from a huge family, you're probably used to sharing things. But it was just me and my brother growing up. So, and we were used to like sharing rooms and space with each other. But I think to compare that to sharing a bathroom, a sink, and only 3 showers with 40 women, it's completely different. But I was still excited. The reason why I say that is, if you go to college, like I was saying before, or you plan to go in college and they have dorms, I highly, even if you plan on moving out, because I did, me and a few girls, I think I told you about them, a few of them are going to come up in this story as well, ended up going and moving into what they call student apartments. Yes, we did end up moving out of the dorms, but I'm telling you guys, I'm not lying to you, it was such a great experience living in the dorms. It's like an experience. I don't think the bathroom thing is necessary for anybody. I think we all probably could have went without the bathroom sharing, but the actual bonding with so many different women from so many different walks of life, backgrounds, regions. I'm talking about, because one of the girls in the story, she's actually from Africa. Like her family is from Africa, the continent. I'm hoping that's a continent. I'm pretty sure it's a continent. Again, didn't do too well in classes like that. Anywho, um, so it was such a great experience to learn from so many different people, because I know you're like, well, in high school you can learn from a lot of different people, but the thing is, when you go to your high school, even though there's a lot of people in your high school, in my opinion, it's completely different, because in your high school, even though, like I said, there's a lot of different people, a lot of those people are from your area. Does that make sense? Like, they're from like your part of town. They're from your state. They're from your, possibly even from your elementary school. So, even if you didn't, talk to them in elementary school, they were there most likely. A lot of them, if they hadn't moved away. So to actually meet people that were not like me, or look like me, or talk like me, or walk like me, talk like me. I might need to insert that darn Babaloo. Y'all remember that from Jungle Book? Dun, 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 dun. I don't know the words, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. It's like really interesting to stretch yourself in a way where
I wanna be like you. I wanna walk like you. Talk like you.
Not saying you have to put up with people's bull crap, but to say that, I'm in this shared space, I got to be more cognizant of like what I say and how I act, and be aware that this is not just my space, this is not just my home, right? And I feel like it's a really good learning experience. Now, even though I believe it's a good learning experience, a lot of other people don't feel that way. A lot of other people don't care if it's not their house. A lot of people don't care if it's not their dorm. A lot of people don't care that there's 39 other women in this space that they might need to be considerate of. And that's why we are on this story, because not only I feel like it's relevant for the election that's going on, I also feel like it's very relevant just in life, to try not to be a dick if you can if you can help it at all. Like, if it's at all possible, try not to be a walking piece of poo. Like, you can have your opinions, you can have your stance on things, but I don't believe in force. I try my best, at least. I'm human, I'm pretty sure. I've dropped the ball, but I try not to force my ideologies, my thinkings, my religion, and the things that I believe on other people. Because who am I to tell you, as long as you're not hurting anybody, who am I to tell you that what you're thinking and doing and saying is wrong? But when you start almost bullying folk, that's a problem. So fast forward, we're in the dorm. So y'all, so not only am I excited that, might have a black president, but among the other, around this time was a very popular song. I'll try to insert a clip if I can find it. If it's just a little bit of "My President is Black" by Jeezy. But it was like a catalyst to this time in my life and to this election, because it was a big deal, and a lot of people, was playing it around the time, just kind of, putting it in the air, I guess, what we call it. Again, we did not know. It doesn't matter what party you're in. It's just we're a southern state that holds to the state, not me, that holds to a lot of traditional conservative values. That was kind of the climate. So to be able to have a song to kind of support a black president, possible of a black president in a southern state, was just a big deal for us. But because we lived in this dorm, we really didn't play it in the dorm. Like, oftentimes if we heard it, it was like us around campus, going to the club, maybe going to Walmart, hearing it play out of somebody's car in the parking lot, but it wasn't one of those things where you just was walking around playing that in the dorm, because again, we're with other people. Politics is they always tell you, politics is a huge thing, is a huge thing that you really kind of want to avoid, especially when it comes to meeting new people. We didn't want to be disrespectful. And oftentimes, this doesn't, I know this may not happen to all people, but sometimes in some arenas, black women have been said to have been sometimes, and I'm not saying this is all the time, as like as aggressive and mean and, you know, just anything around aggressive that you can think of. Oftentimes that was like a narrative that was, you know, that stereotype. And because of the climate we're in, the southern state, first black president, music that, you know, possibly people wouldn't like, being black around other black women, you know, again, I'm saying this all for a reason, y'all. We are trying our best to contain our excitement but yet be respectful. Well, the thing about Africa that is so interesting is, even though Africa is a student at my school, she technically is unable to vote. I think it might have been because, I'm pretty sure it's because of her citizenship. I think she might have been like on a study abroad type deal or something like that. But she could not vote in the election. I really appreciate her for this, because even though she could not vote, she made sure other people knew like how much of a privilege it was for them to be able to vote in this election. Like, even if you voted for Mitt Romney, like, to vote in this election was just, to be able to be a part of this moment was just a really big deal. And pretty much if you could do it, you should do it. Because she couldn't vote, and we all were trying to be respectful, we all would literally kind of just have our like, we hope Obama's going to win parties, like in our rooms, right? Like in our rooms, like to ourselves. We talked about it on campus, but like I said, we didn't want to disturb other people who might not agree on our floor. Well, one of those people who didn't agree were these two girls. We're going to call them Becky and Christina, because that's what comes to mind. Becky and Christina had a corner not apartment, but dorm room at the end of the hall, right? So yes, it was in a corner that a lot of people, you would literally have to walk towards their room to kind of see their room, but since their room was in the corner, you could still see it. Does that make sense? Because when you walk off the elevator, there's a corner this down here, there's a corner down here. Yeah, it's in the corner, but the door is right there because it's in the corner. So if I look there, I see a big door. If I look down this hallway, I see a big door of the corner dorms, right? Well, these two lovely ladies decided that they wanted to decorate their door in Mitt Romney merch, I like to call it. I'm talking about elephants all over their door. I'm talking about like his head print, like cut out like almost like, you know how somebody would do like a magazine of somebody they might like back in the day. You know, like if you had a crush on BTK, you would like cut out their picture and put it. That's kind of how they did his face. Like that's how his face was on their door. Which, I'm sorry, I don't care who it was. That just seems creepy to me. Like, to see a big A head of anybody, especially coming home from a night of drinking, staring at you down the hallway as you trying to make it to your room. It was interesting, to say the least. It was interesting. But that didn't bother us. They also had like information about him. That didn't bother us. Because again, we understood where we were, the stereotype existed, and the climate of the political race that was going on. So we understood that. So we're like, can't be mad at people for wanting to vote. What we were mad about is how they would put what we deemed as slightly bigoted, uh, sort of extreme right things on this. It's like a board, blackboard, but it's not a blackboard, like a erase board. If I find a picture, I'll put it here. But it's pretty much a dry erase board. So they have the dry erase markers, and it's a huge board. And every day they would come on that board and they would write something crazy, like, if you vote for Obama, you might as well get sent back to your country. Like stuff like it was crazy. It was insane. Like to me, that didn't even go together. Like, if you vote for Obama, you should go back to your country. I'm like, what country? If I'm voting in an election, I'm an American. What country are you talking? So it was just wild to us, right? But not only was it wild to us, it was infuriating to Africa. Like, when I tell you, she could not stand these women. I can't even find the word for disgust that she felt for these girls. Like, absolute utter disgust. She like, and what make it so bad, they didn't seem like awful people when they came out their dorm room. It's just something about when they got to that damn dorm. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't talk to them outside of the dorm. But for them, it's like I said, looking at them, they didn't seem to be like awful people, but I just couldn't understand why they would write stuff like that. They would write Mitt Romney or die, like, which seemed a little threatening. I just always try to think about stuff from the other side. I'm like, I don't know if I wrote things like that on my door, if it would be so forgiving. That's all I'm saying. They would write things like, Mitt Romney forever, death to Obama. Like, it was like, y'all, I'm telling you, insane. Just the most, in my opinion, just the most insane thing. I just always found it interesting. I was like, golly, I wonder if we would write stuff like this, how would people act? What, like I said, for the most part, we ignored it. Now, the person who absolutely could not ignore it, no matter how hard she tried, was Africa. She just could not ignore it. Like, every time she looked down that hallway, because like I said, every time you got off the elevator, you had to see their door. It's the end. Like, if you looked that way, of course you could. I'm sure anybody who's watching this who has feelings might think, well, just don't look, right? Well, that's what we did. we just kind of didn't look, and minded our business. Said it is what it is. Certain people are gonna be people. People be peopling. You can't make people be understanding. You can't make people, you just can't. You just can't make people be considerate. I don't want to change anybody's mind. Like I said, people can vote for whoever they want to vote for, but you can't make somebody considerate in the process. And maybe in their head, they're thinking, like I'm sure most people do, this is technically their home, right? So this is like technically somewhere they stay. This is technically somewhere they live. Why would they have to be aware or kind of a space that technically is theirs, right? So I definitely get why they would think that. It's just the fact that it was on the outside of their door, not on the inside. So in our opinion, we're all sharing this outside space. Like, this is everybody's outside space. Pretty much, why can't you do it in your room? But again, like I said, we didn't say anything. We just said, look, Africa on the other hand, she couldn't help but look. And it would piss her off to no end, because she would be like the same like us. Like, why you gotta be so rude? Like, why you gotta be so disrespectful with it? Like, why you gotta be putting only monkeys vote for Obama? Like, like we were like, this is crazy. And y'all, this was going on for months. This is not like right at election. This is not like, a month out. This is from the time we knew Obama was running. They knew Obama was running, and they made it clear who they was gonna vote for and what they thought about the people who was voting for anybody else, right? So, even though Africa couldn't vote, I guess in her head, I may not be able to vote, but what I can do is stick up for this foolishness. She's like, that's what I can do. So what Africa caught herself doing is every day when they would write something on their board, she would call herself going down to their board and just fucking it up. When I tell you, I'm not talking about vandalizing it or anything, but I guess in her head, she's like, well, I can't beat them. Obviously, you can't do nothing to them. So what I will do is erase their board every day because it's a dry erase board. It's a dry erase board. She was waiting till wee hours of the morning to do it. So it was like, not only was she doing it, but she was like waiting until like she pretty much knew no, she couldn't get caught. Like freaking 3:42 in the morning, 4:16 in the morning, 5:08. Like she was waiting. She was waiting like these asshole o'clock times in the morning, just so she could pretty much erase these people's boards. And when we found out, because like I said, what they were doing is every time this person that they didn't know at the time was doing it, they would come back on their door and pretty much write, you can't be doing this. Like, this is our property. Write it. Like a dissertation on their board saying, you can't do this. This is our property. You better not let us find out who is doing this. We're going to turn you in. And so one day we were just talking about it. Africa was good because she did not even tell us that she was doing it. We were just talking, like laughing about it one day in our dorm. And one day she just came out and be like, I'm doing it. She just came out, I'm doing it. And we didn't believe, because she was so nice. And we knew it frustrated her, the things that they were saying. We thought all of us had made a silent agreement. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, that's what them people is doing. That ain't got nothing to do with us. That's they crossed the bear. If they that angry over, golly, y'all, my eyebrows is crazy. I can't tell. It's a light. They look crazy to me. I look crazy, but it is what it is. So we was all in the door, and we all were like, what? We didn't believe her at first. Honestly and truthfully, y'all, we did not believe her. But she said it with such a stark face, like, because we were laughing. We were like, ain't no way, girl, hush, that ain't you, da-da-da-da-da. We went back to pretty much saying, we wonder who it is. She said it again, it's me. So we all stopped, we're like, Africa, when are you doing this? Like, you are with us. Like, when are you doing this? And she literally was like, y'all, like a ninja, like a cold, calculated killer was like, oh, wait till everyone's asleep. When everyone's sleeping and everything is quiet, that's when I move. Girl, what are you talking about? We were like, of course, we're 19 at the time. So to us, this is a big freaking deal. You hear me? This is a big freaking deal. Y'all, I'm going to try to put on some foundation, clean some of this up, and I'll be right back. Alright, y'all, I'm back. Not looking no better than when I left, but I'm back. So, hopefully, when I kind of powder down this makeup, it'll look a little bit better. And back to Africa. We can't confirm nor deny that she was doing this stuff while we were sleeping. We can't. Like, all we can do is take her word for it. And y'all, if y'all could see the expression in this woman's face, I believe her. I'm sorry. I believe she. I believe this is little bronzer / finishing powder. It's really old. It's called Hula Hula. Anywho, I believe that she did it. I do. I believe that she did it. I also believe that she did it because of her frustration, um, that she felt, and the frustration she knew that we felt. Like, because yes, again, we get that there's a stereotype with black women. We get that it's a heightened time. We get that we're in the South. We get all these things. But even though we do get all these things, like, we're human, right? And it was hurtful to see something that we were so excited about to be degraded and dismissed and made fun of on a day-to-day basis for months. For months. It's for months. Oh, got a piece of that brush in my mouth. Y'all, I look like a Oompa Loompa. We knew it was happening. We knew they were being rude and disrespectful. But it's almost like this is what happens here. So to have somebody kind of come in and be like, well, it may happen for y'all, but it ain't happening for me, was really not only eye-opening, but inspiring in many ways. So I'll always love her for that. But anywho, it continued. So after we found out that not only was she the one, oh, y'all look crazy. When we knew it was her doing it, at this point, y'all, now it's hilarious. Now that we know that it's our friend doing this, making these ladies down the hall, Becky and Christina, mad, like, we are here for it. The first, we was like, to be honest, at first, I think we thought they were making it up. I think we thought they were trying to get people that they knew that were voting, conspiracy theories. We thought they were trying to get people they knew was voting for Obama in trouble. That's what we had thought. Because we're like, who is doing this? Like, who, there can't be. But honey, when we found out it was Africa, we were like, get it, girl. Get it. We had already made up our mind. Like, she not getting in trouble for this. Because if anybody should be getting in trouble, it's these people that are, and I know some of y'all who have lived in dorms, you're probably thinking, where is the RA? Which is like the resident advisor. That's the person who makes sure everybody's living amicably. The resident advisor at this time was graduating. I know y'all like this big ass brown pencil, but this is all I got. I don't know what lip I want to go with. She was about to graduate. So due to her being about to graduate, she was beyond checked out. We were just like, gonna stand up for her. We're gonna stand up for her and say whatever happens, we going down for the count with Africa, right? So it's going on. It's going on and on where they're writing rude stuff, and now they're putting up actual signs on their door like this is private property. Like, it was insane. This is like private. You know those signs you might see where people don't want people have their dogs like peeing in their yard. It was signs like that on their door. Like, this is private property. Anything beyond this point is non-permissible to law or not permissible by law. Like, stuff like that on their door. In a public dorm. Now, they might have had some kind of right, but it didn't seem like they did. I just found it annoyingly hilarious, right? So they're going back and forth. Africa's racing their board. They're putting rude stuff on it. And now the stuff is getting ruder. Like, it's getting more like trap queens and possums vote for Obama. Too busy getting your hair weaves. Too busy, like, just to read the facts. Just rude. And I'm not saying this verbatim. This is what these people are saying. I'm saying this is in the ballpark of some of the language they're using. So of course it was a very long time ago, but just to kind of give you an idea of the racially just stereotypical, disrespectful, unneeded language they were using to be like, yay, Mitt Romney, right? So finally, election day comes. It's silently raining outside. It's like a light mist. Me, Africa, Gemini, and what did I name my sorority? I'm gonna call her Sis. Yeah, I think I named her Sis. Are all sitting around my television screen the size of this mirror. I'll lie to you not. This is a color I want to try. It is called Champagne by CoverGirl. All sitting around my Cracker Jack box size television trying to see the results, right? And the last thing we see on these obnoxious people down the hall for us writing on their board is something to the fact of Mitt Romney 2018 bitches, like in all exclamation points, right? So we see this as we're coming back from lunch. Nobody's talking. We're all literally holding hands and our breath, all just waiting, 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 and before we know it, we hear, and the next president of the United States is Barack Obama. Y'all, when I tell you, I can still feel that feeling to this day. I'm telling you, the screams of total joy that seemed to echo out of that room, down that hallway, from not just us, but from outside. Just this overwhelming, like, oh my God, it happened. Like, it really, to think something is possible and then for something to actually be possible, it's that gap in between that I feel oftentimes a lot of us live in. Like, I know it could happen, but it's that but, right? So yeah, we all thought it could happen, but for it to happen, like, and to know that we were a part, like, we felt like we did this, like we did it, like we did this, and it was, y'all, I wish I had the words and the language to express, like, the hair standing up on my arm, us literally running out into the hallways, hugging random people we had never even talked to, not because we didn't like them, it's just, they had their friends in their class schedule and we had our friends in our class schedule. But for so many people of so many colors and races and backgrounds to come out and like cheer together and cry together and to be like, what did we just, like, we were a part of history, not only of an election, but literal history. Like, our first time for a lot of us ever being able to vote, wanting to vote, and we had did it, right? So while we're in the hallway, like jumping up and down, like yelling, screaming, finally getting to play, our president is black, my Lambo is blue. Like, we like turning all the way up for our new black ass president, right? We're all like excited. All I see out the corner of my eye is Africa pushing through the crowd, going down that hallway towards that door, right? And the hush falls over the crowd, like, from all these girls twerking, and my president is black, my Lambo is blue, and really my Honda is blue. Like, get quiet. And all of us slightly look towards the hall where she's walking down to the Mitt Romney groupies, right? And she erases that board for the last time, takes out a permanent marker and writes Obama 2018 or 08, whenever it was, bitches on their board, bangs on their door. They open it and she yells, my president is black, bitches. It was the most epic, to this, goosebumps to this day. I know some of y'all ain't gonna like the story. I'm sorry. This is my election experience. It was the most epic thing we had ever seen. We were so full of energy, so charged, not only from just winning, but literally Africa being like, it is done. Like, this war is over. We did it. We were so excited. We ran downstairs barefoot in the rain as just people from all over were driving towards what we call the UC, which is like this center community building that all the students can go to watch TV and to like grab something to eat. We're running head first, barefoot, soaked in rain and tears to watch the speech of Barack Obama Jesse Jackson cried, and so did we. Hundreds of us in silence, in this sweet silence, not a sweet, hopeful, healing, connective silence, as we seen our first Black president together on this college campus with people we possibly never had talked to, holding hands, hugging each other, as we became a part of history. So that's my story. Here's my look for today. I don't know. It's a look. It's the thing I did. I said this story. I'll tell this story again. I don't know if it'll be up for election day. It might be up after. But I just wanted to share that the election process can really oftentimes feel like a waste of time. This is about to sound like a press conference. I promise it's not meant to. Excuse me. But I've also been a part of elections where I had the complete opposite feeling. Where I felt like gutted and disappointed, and I felt a sense of despair and loneliness, and like I wasn't being seen and my voice wasn't being heard. I've been a part of those elections too. I say all that to say, I guess I can take my scarf off so I can look like a human. I don't think y'all care, but I'll do it just for the heck of it. But I say all that to say that it matters. Especially with the overturning of Roe versus Wade, no matter what your feelings are about that overruling, but things are changing, and it's changing fast, and sometimes to me it feels like it's changing right under our noses. We have to do better. We have to do better, and we have to find the courage like Africa and that hope like that election to go out and vote for what we believe is right. It doesn't so much matter if like a lot of people be like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't count. But even if you don't think it counts, like people like Africa, or people who wish they could vote, or people who really believe in this process and want to be a part of history, it matters to us and it matters to them. So vote for, if not for yourself, vote for your future. Vote for your family, vote for those who can't, and vote to protect the people that you love. I don't care on what side of the fence you are, but put yourself in others' shoes and think about how things can truly affect those outside of yourself, right? Because we all got to live in this world together, and we all should be a little bit more considerate about what that world should look like. So if you can, when you can, look up your candidates that are on the ballot. You can usually Google my sample ballot for your county and your state, and it'll actually bring up the people that are going to be on your ballot, so you can see who you should be able to vote for. I would type in my city too. Sometimes they'll have district people as well, depending on if it's a primary election or what have you. But you can look up your sample ballot. And what I do, which I'll admit, I just started doing this literally in this election because of Roe versus Wade, where I really took time to look at the candidates, their platforms, what they stated they stood on, what they claimed they didn't, even what they did for a living. I really took time this election to do that because it seemed that important, right? And like I said, it doesn't have to be important to you, but it could be important to somebody you love and you care about. This video is valid no matter when you vote, whether it be this election or one in the future. You're important. You matter, if not yourself, for somebody. Hope this video was entertaining. It probably wasn't that entertaining. It was funny when I was living it. Or epic when I was living it. So possibly it's not that great listening to it. But I hope you enjoyed a little bit of this look. Here we go again. Just for me to take it off. I hope to do another story for you guys soon. Not quite sure what it'll be. But I also want to do some show reviews. Because I watched a really interesting cult type thing. Anywho, I just need to talk about some stuff, and I just pray that I can build a community here where we can live, be, and create community just like you know, I did all those years ago with those ladies in that dorm, and be able to talk freely and feel heard. And hope you enjoy it here. So that being said, thank you so much for being here.